Hello and welcome to Talking Loud. I am your host Andrew Brauer, and here we talk everything Loud House, whether it be new episodes, old episodes, discussions, debates, whatever. As I said, I'm the host Andrew Brauer, and joining me are our fellow members, the Anglophile Gamer, but we all call him by Vossi.
Yeah, Anglophile Gamer. I'm not that well known, but I play more. I'm typically a Let's Player, just haven't uploaded anything in a while. I'm currently working on a Let's Play for Lecture, and that's basically it. I haven't touched it in a while, though.
Also joining us, we have Yoshi Player.
Hello, what's up everybody? I'm Yoshi Player, and some of you may know me for creating such shows like Sticks and Let's Tackle on my YouTube channel. And I also watch The Loud House all the time, and now it's a pleasure for me to join this group just to talk about the show that I love to watch.
And also joining us, we have muppetspot, aka Muppet.
Hello, yes, it is I, muppetspot, and judging by the name, I'm a Muppet fan, but I also like Loud House, and you may remember me from such stories like Stripping Channels and Recover Girls.
Alright, so this is our first video that we're doing on this channel, and I figure for right now, I think a good way to start off our first video would be to discuss how this season's going on so far, Season 2, because I think for right now we're getting close to the halfway mark of Season 2, and it has been reported that Season 3 might be coming out this summer, so for right now, let's discuss our overall thoughts. What do you guys think of Season 2 right now?
I think it's pretty good so far. There's a few kinks they need to work out.
Episodes it has... Well, with the amount of episodes it has, I'd say at this point, Season 2 seems to be getting better than Season 1, but hey, it hasn't ended yet, so we'll just have to wait and see how it goes down.
It's an enjoyable season, but there also have been like a few gripes like in the entire community with some of the episodes, but...
Yeah, as a whole, so far I think Season 2 has been good, but I also do have some issues. Like I said, there have been some episodes that I really have been a fan of, and I think my biggest problem I've had with Season 2 is that it's all felt very static, if that makes any sense. It felt like this season as a whole, there seems to be a lack of progression, and overall, at least some character development, which you could argue that's typical for cartoons, but... From the very first season, it's been pretty clear that this series will also include characters learning lessons and having them develop, and we learn more about them. So far, I feel like we haven't really gotten that with Season 2. Can any of you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I could just be like saying it's a stretch by saying that I feel like this might end up being what Season 2 will be like, but again, we still have the rest of the season to go, so Season 2 might end up surprising us with the new episodes coming up, which the new episodes that will be coming up in a couple weeks, we will actually be doing our next video over those new episodes, which will be coming out on the week of May 12th, I believe. Is it? No, wait, not May 12th, May 15th.
Yeah, and also the upcoming special, Relative Chaos.
Oh yeah, we'll also be doing like a whole separate video on the 22-minute special Relative Chaos, which is coming out on Memorial Day. So look out for that as well. So
yeah.
All right, so and now that kind of ties into another topic. The new episodes that we have that are coming up. Like, let me pull up the ones that are going to be coming up. Okay, so we have Relative Chaos coming out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first episode coming out is Pets Peeved on May 15th. And from what I read in the description, which I'll read right here, Lana brings a new pet home, which the kids generously overload with attention. This causes the other pets to plan to get rid of it. What do you guys think of this idea?
It sounds like a very, almost Tom and Jerry plot, where the pets want to get rid of something, but hopefully they won't have voices. That's my biggest worry with the episode, that they'll have voice actors.
All right. What about you, Vossi?
I don't know. I could feel sort of I really don't know. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel a small pest vibe. I can't say that. Pet or pest vibe from that. Just with the idea of the other pets trying to get rid of it. But then again, in that episode, Gary wasn't that aggressive to the worm. So as of right now, I don't really know.
All right, Yoshi.
Well, at the same time, I kind of agree with what Muppet said about it. This does sound very like something I may have seen before from something like Tom and Jerry. The idea sounds interesting, But I just hope that it just, like, from what I've heard, apparently I think some of the pets actually have a voice actor. Like, I don't know if they're gonna talk, but from what this plot sounds like, I think this will probably go in the direction I probably think it's gonna go. But at the same time, I don't really know. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Personally, I'm actually looking forward to this episode. I think it's interesting that we're getting a plot that's basically where the majority of the focus will be going on to the pets. I mean, and it is funny seeing that there are actually people who really do like the pets in the show, even though we don't really see them a lot. So I think the fact that we're getting an episode dedicated to them, that definitely intrigues me. I am looking forward to this episode. All right, so the next episode, May 16th, Out of the Picture. In an effort to not be the forgotten men of Royal Woods Elementary, Lincoln and Clyde do whatever it takes to get into yearbook group photos. What are your thoughts on this episode?
Well, I think it's going to be a fun one, even though it's another, like, the 12 million Lincoln and Clyde episode we got. But it'll be probably fun and cool.
Yeah,
I think that'll be...
another Clink and McClyde episode. What about you, Vossi?
I think it sounds like an interesting idea, though. Then again, yes, there are like too many. Muppet stated like that there are too many Lincoln and Clyde episodes, and not all of them are that fantastic. But I still think it can be pretty good because I mean I like Hit the Bucket List and I like Baby Steps, and I mean I like Baby Steps a lot. But I'm just saying.
All right, Yoshi.
It sounds interesting, but at the same time, yes, I agree. We've had a lot of Clink and McCloud episodes, and from what this plot sounds like, it could be interesting, but it sounds like it could be fun, but you never really know what to expect when it comes to these kind of episodes, so I don't know. We'll see.
All right, next episode, Room with a Feud. Seeing his sisters squabble with their roommates, Lincoln suggests a roommate shuffle based on a compatibility test he and Clyde took. Oh wait, I'll talk about that in a sec. I forgot to give my thoughts on Out of the Picture. Out of the Picture looks interesting. Again, I'm kind of tired of these Clink and McCloud episodes. I can already tell they're going to make that a thing, but it could be interesting. I like to Kick the Bucket List, and Baby Steps I think is Clyde's best episode, so it could be good. But back to Room with a Feud. What are your thoughts on this?
It could be really interesting if they have the other sisters work out and they actually want to stay this way. But it could turn into a Lincoln torture porn episode, like Brawl in the Family. That's my biggest fear.
All right.
I can definitely agree with the whole idea of if it could turn into a second Brawl of the Family, or be interesting. It's really one or the other, and you don't really know.
All right, Yoshi.
I'm a little bit worried about this episode because with what it sounds like, if this turns out to be another Brawl in the Family, then I will be very disappointed. But from what it sounds like, I think it could be interesting, but I don't want to get my hopes up too high because, again, I'm so worried about this episode. I'm just hoping, just maybe, that it does not turn out the way I hope it's actually going to go. Because, I mean, like the way I want it to go, I want it to be good. But nothing like a Lincoln torture porn. That's all I want.
Yeah, I'm with Yoshi on this one. I think out of all the new episodes, this is the one I'm worried about the most because we talk about Brawl in the Family later in this video, but from how that plot sounds, it looks like it might turn into an episode where Lincoln sees a problem, Lincoln finds a solution, and then ends up going all wrong, and then there's going to be a solution to it where it ends up making the sisters happy, but Lincoln ends up coming off worse, and a lot of people will say, oh, well, he deserved it. So that does get me worried. I hope it doesn't go in that direction. It could be fun, but and unlike some other people, I'm still going to check out the episode even though I am worried about it because I still have hopes it could be good.
Yeah, I checked out Brawl in the Family.
Okay, and now the final episode we have is Spell It Out. Tired of her siblings walking all over her, Lucy turns to a spell book once owned by great-grandma Harriet to teach her siblings a lesson. What are your thoughts on this episode?
It sounds like an interesting idea, like maybe Lucy makes them all silent, but I feel like I heard that from somebody's story at one point. But it could be interesting, and it's like our it's our third Lucy episode, besides Sleuth or Consequence and Back in Black.
All right, Vossi.
I think it's an interesting idea. Hold on, I had like a couple things I wanted to say and I forgot. It sounds like I'm turning to an issue. Oh yeah, now I remember. It sounds like an interesting idea, but why Lucy? She doesn't sound like the one that like all the siblings would be like teasing or forgetting about, stuff like that. Like walk. If you want a sibling that's walked all over, Lucy just does not sound like that sibling.
It sounds more like Lincoln, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Lincoln torture has been going on in this season.
All right, Yoshi.
Because, like, again, while I do think this is an interesting idea, I honestly don't know why it's Lucy the ones that's like all the siblings are walking on. Because if anyone, I think it should be Lincoln. Because in the past few episodes, he's been dealing with a bunch of issues from his sisters, and many other episodes where his sisters are like hurting him or making fun of him. And I feel like maybe Lucy. Here's what I think. I think if this episode was about Lincoln getting walked over, however, Lucy's the one who actually tells him about the spell, and she does it just to make him feel better. I think this could have been a very interesting episode, but still, as it is, I'm very interested to see how it goes. But again, if it was the other way around, maybe it'd be more interesting, but I don't know. We'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I definitely see your points. For right now, I'm definitely looking forward to this episode. It might be it might be the one I'm looking forward to the most, aside from Out of the Picture. And one point I forgot to bring up is that Out of the Picture, they said they want to try and like get in a whole bunch of yearbook photos. And my first thought was, oh, is this episode like taking place around the time that they're almost about to graduate the 5th grade? That definitely kind of seems a little bit interesting, but we'll have to see. But back to Spell It Out, I do like this idea. I feel like a spell book that seems like it fits the most with Lucy. She seems like the kind of person who would own a spell book and would use it to pretty much like do whatever she wants with her siblings. Again, I think the whole like walking over thing, that doesn't really sound like something typical of Lucy. She seems more like somebody that would end up scaring everybody. I mean, that is like her running joke as a character. But again, I'm definitely looking forward to this episode. This could be fun. I think it could be fun. All right, so now that we talked about the upcoming episodes, let's talk about some of the episodes we've seen so far for Season 2. Like, what are some of the highlights in a positive way of Season 2 episodes?
Party Down was just a great one.
Yeah, we can all agree on that. I think Party Down is probably one of the best episodes of this season. If not, like,
Yeah,
well,
it's my favorite episode of this season.
Yeah, for me, I think it is my favorite episode of this season.
Definitely one of the best episodes the show has ever had, ever since Season 1.
Yeah, I don't think Party Down's one of my favorites, but I do really, really like it.
Yeah, I think what Party Down does is that it makes me realize that episodes that are more focused on Lori, they typically turn out better than I expected. I thought Fair to Remember was one of my favorite episodes of Season 1, and Party Down so far is my favorite episode of Season 2. As of right now, we still have half of Season 2 left to go through, but it stands right now, this is my favorite episode of Season 2, which previously it was Sweet and Sour. Like, what are your thoughts on that episode, Sweet and Sour?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny, but
I like it.
But there's one problem I have.
It was really funny. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, okay, so
my only problem with it is why did Luna, participate in the craziness
that's actually
at the hotel? That's
actually a problem that we'll tie back into later. But as a whole, Sweet and Sour, I thought this episode was great. I thought by far it was the funniest episode of the entire series. I liked a lot of the antics that were going on. I thought it all wrapped up really well. It was overall a really fun episode. And if it wasn't for Party Down, it would be my favorite episode of this season.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and now let's also talk about an episode that a lot of people widely consider the best episode of the entire series, 11 Months Leaping. What are your thoughts?
I just find it okay. I've seen better Christmas specials, even funnier ones. This isn't funny. It's just like, to me.
Alright, Vossi?
It was a former favorite, and then it got topped by Frog Wild and Lock and Loud, but I still really love it for what it is. It's been a while since I've seen it.
It was enjoyable, but rewatching it, maybe it's not as good as I thought it used to be. But I don't know. That could just be me. I still enjoy it, but it's definitely not one of my favorites now. It used to be, but that was before other episodes came.
I'm with Muppet on this one. I find this episode only okay. My biggest problem I have, though, is that I thought there were way too many subplots. I was like, I get it. Like, it's a 22-minute special. You want to have all the sisters involved, but I felt like giving each of them like a subplot, it wasn't needed. Like the only one that actually mattered for the story was Luna's. I figure, I mean, giving like a subplot for like Lori not trying to open a present, or Lana's traps, or Clyde trying to get a kiss from Lori because of course he would. I wish there was more time that was spent on Lincoln and Mr. Grouse. I figure if they had more time dedicated to that, it would have made for a better episode. I feel like thankfully it picks up much better in the second half, but as a whole it's only an okay episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so and Vossi was also talking about some other episodes that were really good. Frog Wild.
I love Frog Wild. It was cute, and I'm glad none of the other sisters really appeared. Like, they were like, oh, look at me, look, it's Lynn. Oh, look, it's Lenny. I'm glad that it didn't turn into like that. It was just Lincoln and Lana, just them, and no Clyde.
Yeah, Vossi, you said you loved it?
Yeah, I loved it. Well, I think part of the reason was just because it's Lana oriented, and I really like Lana. She's my favorite character. And I just thought the episode as a whole was pretty funny. And the backstory... it had a really... Wait, I have, like, notes on this, and I keep... Like, the backstory was... I forgot what I named the file. But the backstory was cute. I honestly thought the joke with the raccoon is pretty funny. There was this one line, "Good luck, froggies, have a nice life." And then there was that one scene where like Lana was in the trash can chewing on gum. I actually found that funnier than I thought it was disgusting.
Okay, Yoshi?
Yeah, Frog Wild. I was gonna say some before. Yeah, it's a really good episode, and mostly because this is a Lana episode, and I really enjoyed a lot of things about this episode. I really enjoyed the backstory. I thought it was cute. I liked seeing Lincoln and Lana teaming up to try and save all the frogs. It was really good, and it was really funny as well. I really enjoyed it.
Overall, I thought Frog Wild, it was a good episode when I first watched it, but the more I rewatch it, the more it grows on me. I think this episode will probably end up being in like my top 10 favorite episodes of season 2. If like it depends on like what episodes we get. I think a lot of this episode works really well. I thought the whole like saving the frogs thing was pretty cool. I thought the second half actually had some pretty nice suspense too, when the principal was like trying to look for the frogs, and I thought the nice doses of humor that they had in between like the suspenseful moments was really nice. But by far and away, I thought the funniest moment in the episode was at the end with that sex joke with the frogs, where they're like, "What are those two frogs doing?"
Oh, and the scene
It's
where
covered
they're
over the
saving the
map.
ducks.
Like the very end was just great.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty good episode. But now that we're talking about Lana, she was also in another episode this season with Lola called Patching Things Up, which there's also another episode a lot of people really liked. What are your thoughts on it?
I love the episode, except for Lincoln and Clyde. I think Lincoln should have said like goodbye and then welcomed them back home. Kind of like, a very brief cameo, as Oscar once said.
It's yet another one of my top 20. Coming up. I liked. Lincoln and Clyde was not necessary, but I don't feel like Clyde was like totally shoehorned in, because he had that joke with the tiara and the crown, and I guess. Hold on. I liked how the patches like fit. I thought that was a really nice touch. Once again, subplot wasn't totally needed, but I still really liked it.
All right, Yoshi?
Yeah, it was a really good episode in my opinion. I really enjoyed how, for once, we actually got an episode focused on the twins. And I mean, like, just seeing them work off of each other and trying to work together, it was really enjoyable. And like Vossi said, the patches that they were given really fit them really well. I will agree that the one issue I have with this episode was that even though I felt like Lincoln and Clyde's subplot wasn't needed, I still thought it was okay, but I felt like the episode could have been a lot better without it. Like, I understand, like, we have to have Lincoln in the episode because he's like the main character and stuff like that, but that doesn't mean he has to take up a majority of the episode. Like what Muppet said, which I agree. You could just have him saying, "Oh, goodbye," and then later he's like, "Oh, welcome back," and stuff like that. But aside from that, it was a really good episode. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree with all of your points. This episode was so close to being my favorite. It was like close to like getting like a 9 out of 10, but it got like an 8 out of 10 for me, all because of the subplot. While I didn't think it was bad, there was no point in having the subplot in the episode. I mean, I get it. Lincoln's the main character. They want to have him in every episode, but really a brief cameo from him would have been just fine. Like or kind of like what they did with House Music last season. Just have him be like a minor character in the episode and not give him like a whole entire subplot for the rest of the episode. I figure if they just cut off that subplot in the episode and spent more time with the twins, it would have been a much better episode. But still, I really liked it. Alright, so now that we talked about episodes that we really liked, why don't we talk about episodes that we really, really were not fans of? So which one would you want to start off with?
I think we should talk about the most controversial one right now. No Such Luck.
Alright, no such luck then. Alright, what are your thoughts on that episode?
Overall, I say it was good in the beginning, but then ruins itself with the second half completely. Unfortunately, the second half ruins it so much that I cannot rewatch it at all.
Alright, Vossi?
I liked it like for the first few times I watched it, but then the more I watch it, not only does it like grow down on me, like if that's a good terminology to use, I just go to like it less and less. And despite the Discord avatars, I don't know if they're showing avatars or not in this, I'm not sure. But it makes me like Lynn less and less. Like I watched it. And unfortunately for me, there was like a little risky business reference. Unfortunately, I am kind of young. I'm a little too young to get that. That's the problem. So I didn't get it.
Alright, Yoshi?
Okay, here's what I think, and I have a lot to say here. So, no such luck. My history with this episode has been very different. Interesting, I should say. Because at first when I saw it, I didn't think it was that bad. Like, I think I understood what the episode was going for. However, the more I watched it, it actually started to really piss me off. Like, I mean, really, really fucking piss me off. Like, wait, wait, am I not allowed to swear here?
No, you can curse. Go ahead.
Yeah, just curse.
Oh, wait, can I start? Can I do that again?
No, go ahead. Continue.
Okay, anyway, let me continue. But then the more I watched it, it actually started to piss me off. Like, really, really pissed me off. Because at first, like, the first few minutes, I guess it was okay, because I think I understood what the episode was going for, like, oh, you shouldn't let a lie go too far. I didn't mind that. What I did mind, though, was everything else, because as soon as the lie goes too far, everyone, and I mean everyone, immediately jumps to the fact that, oh, Lincoln's bad luck, so he can't join our activities, and I'd be fine with that, kind of, but then it gets really bad. Like, first they lock him out of his room, and then he has to sleep outside. He's forbidden to come with them to their activities, and by the end of the episode, you think it's gonna, like, end really sweetly. Like, when you have everyone apologizing, then you completely mess it up with the mom saying, oh, we sold all your furniture. I'm like, okay, why did you put that there? That only proves how much crueler this episode gets. The bad luck is extremely stupid in this episode because, like, I'm especially ashamed that the parents were even in this in the first place because they're the parents. They're not supposed to immediately assume this kind of stuff. And this is, like, personally, this is worse than what they did in another episode, which we'll talk about. But they just don't want to do anything to help their son get better. No, they have to be like, oh, we agree with everybody. And it's really stupid because I feel bad for Lincoln. I feel so bad for him because even though he was in the wrong for lying, all this episode did was that it made me realize, okay, you know what? Even though I don't like another episode, which we'll talk about, this episode felt like there was more harm done to Lincoln than in that episode. Personally speaking, because I just feel so bad for him, and I'm not surprised this episode has so much controversy, because I totally understand. I do not like this episode. I really hate this episode. It's not well, it is one of the worst episodes I've seen, but there's more episodes I've seen that's worse than this, in my opinion. But that's all I have to say. I apologize that was long, but I just really wanted to get this off my chest.
Also, I have something else to bring up with No Such Luck.
What?
I feel like we've been getting too many alternate endings, too many,
Oh, is the phone ringing?
Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, I feel like we've been getting too much alternate endings and stuff, and I think you told me this, Drew, but The only way that we could stop all this stuff is if the episode never existed.
Right, that would basically be the only solution. Now, I was gonna say, I was actually gonna say quite a bit, but a lot of the stuff that Yoshi brought up is actually a lot of the same points. I think this episode, again, when I first watched, I thought it was fine. I thought it was okay, not really that good. The more I watch this episode, the more I see why a lot of people really don't like No Such Luck. Now, the thing with me, now the best comparison point that I have for No Such Luck is another episode from season 1 I really don't like, The Sweet Spot. And that's an episode where I thought for the first half, it was okay. The second half jumped right off a fucking cliff and just got much, much worse. Because, like, I feel like, here's how I think it should have gone, is that when Lincoln was in that montage, like, where he's, like, reading the comic and all bored and whatnot, that should have been the point where he told everybody that it was a lie, then they still wouldn't believe him, and then he would go to the game to try and, like, convince them, and I feel like they should have done that. If you had just taken out the part of them kicking him out of the house and basically forcing him to sleep out there, not go to his activities and whatnot, and basically say that he's homeless, then that part really, really pissed me off. And it also pissed me off because if you go back to the episode Ties That Bind, at the end of the episode, the parents say they would never kick out their children. They love them too much. Yet, it seems like they're very hypocritical to the fact that they would completely kick out Lincoln, all because they assume he's bad luck. Way to go against your word, Mom and Dad. So yeah, I really didn't like this episode. By the end of season 2, this will most definitely be on like my worst list for sure.
And now it's time to talk about the most controversial episode.
Wait,
Voss,
I did not until just now that contradiction to Ties That Bind. You just now made me realize that.
Oh wow, you realized it right now?
Yeah, I just now realized it. So when I'm working on my list that I may or may not ever get finished, when I get to Ties That Bind, which is on the list, I'm going to need to mention that.
Okay, before we get to that controversial episode, let's also talk about another episode that some of us have different opinions on it, and it's also another episode that some people really like it, some people really don't like it, and that episode is Making the Grade. What are your thoughts on that episode?
I just find it okay, and it's not because I just felt like Lisa wasn't really that likable of a character in this episode. For me, I'd rather have the socially awkward Lisa we've seen in episodes like Lock and Loud and that Lisa in this episode than the, boring, but almost like wah, 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 wah.
So you'd rather have like the socially awkward Lisa over the smartass Lisa?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, Vossi, what are your thoughts?
Unfortunately, it's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't remember everything. I think, well, the problem is sometimes I just like an episode just because it focuses on certain characters. That might be a big problem playing with criticism, is that I have opinions based on certain things. But I liked it because it was Lisa oriented. It's been a long time, so just
You'll have to rewatch it, won't you?
bear with me. I have to. Well, it's on. I will admit this one. Lincoln should not be the one taking the blame just because Lisa is being annoying. Because it was Lincoln's idea to make her more normal. Or more like a typical 5th grader. And Lisa has taken it too seriously. But Lincoln gets all the blame just for some reason. And I'm gonna say this one is positive though. I really like the robot Todd. I don't know, I just found him funny.
Okay, Yoshi? So, Yoshi, what are your thoughts?
Oh, sorry, I had a bit of microphone issues, forgive me.
Oh,
Anyway, Making the Grade. I don't like this episode, but I don't think it's as bad as other episodes in Season 2, or even as bad as some of the episodes in Season 1. Here's my main issue with the episode, and I agree with I agree with you guys on this one. It's the fact that, Lisa, the character who normally would make these decisions on her own because she wants what's the best for her. No, she doesn't do that. In this episode, she only did it just because Lincoln told her to do it. And she doesn't think about what she's doing, and that she thinks, oh, I'm doing this just because Lincoln told me to. And therefore, everyone's putting all the blame on him. And Honestly, I think that's really stupid because even though like Lisa should not be saying this kind of stuff because this should have been her decision to do what she needed to do, and she had to decide what was the best for her and Lincoln because that's who she is. She doesn't let other people tell her what she should be doing. She has to make these decisions on her own. Also, let me briefly talk about all the parts where the sisters are being jerks to Lincoln. Here's the thing, and some people have said, "Oh, like Lincoln doesn't seem that like embarrassed or annoyed by it." If he's not annoyed by it, then why should we? Here's the thing. This is not the normal reaction I would expect from Lincoln. Any normal person who gets kicked out of the van would be like, "Oh, they just kicked me out. That is so not fair." Instead, he just acts like, "Oh, well, that just happened." No, that is not how a normal person would react to this kind of stuff. And while I understand what they're trying to say here, I just don't buy it because honestly, this is not how a normal person would react to what the sisters just did. I really don't like this episode that much. However, I will agree it's not as bad as other episodes I've seen. It is far from being one of the worst episodes I've seen. But yeah, that's what I had to say.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Yoshi. And overall, I really didn't like this episode, and I actually have quite a bit to say. Is that my main issue with this episode is, and I know some people will say you didn't like this episode because the sisters were jerks. That's part of the reason. The reason why I don't like this episode is because its moral and message is terribly put. Like, you can tell the moral of this episode is that you should be yourself and not fall into peer pressure. Although some people have debated on whether or not the moral is actually about Lincoln learning not to tell people how they should act. But even if they went with that moral, it ends up making Lisa look much stupider because she ends up falling for it. But I'm just going to assume that it's an episode that's about being yourself and not falling into peer pressure, considering that this is like, what, the third time that we've had a be yourself moral in this series. The problem I have with this is that Lisa doesn't really learn her lesson because she ends up going back to normal because Lincoln told her to. It's like you missed the idea of not falling under peer pressure. Not falling under peer pressure is where you make decisions on your own. You don't have other people tell you what decisions you should make or what you should do. This episode doesn't do that. It doesn't. Well, it tries to do it. It doesn't do it well. And I'm sorry, Vossi. You're probably not gonna like me for this, but I really did not like Lisa in this episode. I thought she was really annoying, especially in the second half where she was like this. At first, when people say they liked seeing Lisa be different, I thought she was obnoxious, where she was trying to like basically put all the blame on Lincoln, even though she didn't even realize it, and she's not going to admit it. And I feel like she doesn't own up to the fact that she did it because it's like, hey, let's have Lincoln be the one get all the blame for it because that's funny, ha ha ha. This episode was just so unpleasant. Not only that, I thought most of this episode was really boring. I thought the jokes really didn't work. I mean, Vossi, for as much as you like that robot joke, I didn't think it was all that funny. I thought that collar joke was lame. I thought the sticky table thing wasn't funny. There wasn't really anything funny in this episode or anything that stood out to me. I mean, the only kind of positive I can say with this episode is that at least at the end, Lincoln's friends let him sit back at the table again. But even then, I don't really think that's enough to make up for the rest of this episode.
Oh yeah, I can definitely agree. The color was a little unnecessary.
Yeah, exactly. So now that we talked about that, let's get into definitely the most hated episode of this season, Brawl in the Family. Who wants to go first?
Oh my god. Can I please go first?
Okay.
Alright. Okay, brace yourself. I have a lot to say here. And I've been planning a whole review for this. Personally, I know a lot of people say that No Such Luck is the worst episode. I can somewhat agree, but in my opinion, that will not describe how much hatred I feel for Brawl in the Family. Because here's what I don't like about the episode. First of all, and this is an issue I don't think many people have brought up, the whole argument between Lori and LENI, I don't quite buy it, because personally speaking, LENI is not the kind of person who would immediately have a grudge against someone just because, oh, she did something that pissed her off. She's not that kind of person. With Lori, I can understand it, but no. They're both bickering about who should wear the dress, and everyone's like, oh, you shouldn't help them. Lincoln, you can't help them. You should just stay out of it. Sister fight protocol. I understand what they're trying to say here. Sometimes you can't always just go in and help someone. Sometimes you just have to let them solve the issue on their own. I understand what they're trying to go for here, but the way they portray it is really, really insulting, and I'll get to that in just a second. So everyone starts getting worse, and Lincoln feels bad, and so he runs away, and then he comes back the next day because he's like, oh, I'm gonna fix all your problems. Then when he comes in, everyone's back to normal, and here comes one of the most insulting endings I've ever seen. The reason why everyone was back to normal was just because Lincoln was gone. And I understand what they're trying to go for here. Like, oh, sometimes you should just let them solve the issue on their own. I understand that. But what does it matter? It's family. He's only trying to help them out. And yet for some reason when he does that, everyone just hates him for it. And it really pisses me off because this makes Lincoln feel more like a black sheep. Because this is the sisters basically telling him, oh, every single time if there's ever a problem with us, you should just leave us alone and go away. Because, you know, it's really insulting because it makes Lincoln feel like he's not, like he can't help out. There's nothing interesting about him, and that he's basically the black sheep of the family. It's really insulting.
Can I bring up something? Can I bring up something, Yoshi?
What?
And Lincoln already has helped with Fight to the Past, Space Invader.
Yeah, Space Invader, and that's an episode I don't even like.
That's what I was gonna say. Because he's helped out in the past, why can he not suddenly help out now? Like in Space Invader, he helped Lucy make up. In other episodes, he helps the sisters out with their problems, and they're totally fine with it. Why is it suddenly now that they're like, oh, you can't help us because you'll make things worse? Oh, it's just for the moral that they can tell, and that's what really pisses me off. I cannot stand this episode, and I know some people will still say that No Such Luck is worse. I will never forget the amount of hatred and pain I feel for this episode. It is that bad.
All right, so Muppet, you were interrupting, so why don't you go next?
Okay, I will. I feel this episode was seriously the writer, whoever wrote this episode, I feel like he wrote something really good, but studio meddling came involved and said, no, put this in, put this in. It feels like something the studio would make. It feels like, you know, market research came in and said, no, you need to put this in, you need to put that in. And it's like, oh, you're contradicting your own show now, right? Having Lincoln, you know, kicked out of his own room. Or like, oh, Lincoln can't help. Hello, Space Invader? It's just, Yoshi basically said everything, but it's just, it just feels like this could have been even a meh episode. But it feels like so much studio meddling was in this one.
All right, Vossi?
Some of you previously mentioned that Yoshi basically explained everything. This is something that Yoshi did not explain. How does Lincoln not know what Sister Fight Protocol is, but how does Bobby know? How does Bobby know but not Lincoln? That makes no sense whatsoever.
I only could come up with one thing for that. Lori told him.
That's one thing I actually forgot to mention. Like, everyone knows about it, including Bobby. How does Lincoln not know? They never tell him.
Yeah.
If they just told him, this whole issue would have been resolved. And then we wouldn't have this episode. Okay, we would have, but still.
Would have had a better ending.
It would have just been, yes, exactly, a better ending. But no. This pisses me off every single time.
Alright, you got any more things to say, Vossi?
Once again, I'm trying to remember. It's been a while. I don't think... So, that was just a big thing I needed to point out. But what got really... Oh, wait, I do have something. I think the problem... I think Yoshi kind of pointed this out. I don't remember. But I just hated how, like, one fight led to more, and more, and more. And then it just turned into chaos with the entire place. Like, why? Like, it seems like in every single possible scene you have to, like, get some argument. At least that's what I can... This is from memory, though. It's been a while.
Alright, okay, so now that all of you have gone, I'll give my thoughts on this. Okay, yeah, I agree with all of you. I really hate this episode. I think it's probably... I don't know if it's the worst episode of the entire series. I still hold Greenhouse as my least favorite episode of the entire series. I think that episode is fucking awful. But this episode is pretty damn close to that. Okay, yeah, a lot of the points you brought up, they definitely apply here. I thought the whole plot seemed stupid. That's what it did. It felt like this was just an episode that had a plot as an excuse to have all the siblings fighting because I guess they thought it'd be funny. I get that in the title they say, like, dog duck, dodge, push, and shove. That's how we show our love. I get that fighting is common with this show. And for moments on the show, I don't mind it when the siblings fight. It's just that their reason for fighting is really, really stupid. And I really hated how they framed Link in this episode. And I didn't like how they framed him as basically being a gigantic idiot who, when he tries to solve a problem, it ends up getting worse. It basically wants to excuse all the other episodes and makes us think that he doesn't know how to solve problems. It's like the writers forgot about Space Invader. They forgot about another episode that came from season 1. I'm thinking off the top of my head. Project Loudhouse, where he was basically, what he did there is he tried to get everybody out of the house, and it wasn't for a selfish need. It was just so everyone can get ready, and the sisters return the favor. With this episode, they make him look like an idiot, and you can say that some people may like this episode because there's some humor in it, which I don't find anything really funny in this episode. I thought that whole military procedure to like get the sisters to one room or the other was really not funny. I thought some of the gags involving Lincoln getting tortured, like where he doesn't have any sheets in his room, and so he has like a whole bunch of dirty laundry piled on him. I'm like, why? This is not funny at all. It's not. That couch bagel thing was not funny. I thought so much of this just wasn't funny, and I can already see some people maybe defending it, saying that it's relatable. I can't find anything relatable to this. And keep in mind, I live in a large extended family. I have multiple stepbrothers and a stepsister as well, so I know what it's like living with siblings. And and you can also make the excuse this episode is meant to be exaggerated and fun. The difference is that you don't make an episode exaggerated if you end up making everybody look like a total jackass. A way to get exaggeration done right is with an episode like Sweet and Sour, an episode where it's so wild and over the top, where it's meant to be, where it's so wild and over the top, but it's meant to be like that. It's really fun. Or One Flew Over the Loud House. That's meant to be a parody and a satire of horror movies and zombie films. Those episodes are exaggerated.
Or Sunday Muffin.
Yeah, like those episodes are exaggerated and they get it done right. They don't sacrifice making the characters look like jackasses. And you could even say that it was the point to make them look like jackasses. But even then, it doesn't have it. The reason why they're being jackasses is really stupid. So yeah, I really hated this episode. I would say more, but Yoshi already covered it.
Yeah, I don't know which would be the worst episode. It's like what Mr. Etcher said about Drawn Together, the movie, or Run Seeks Help, right?
Right.
What is the worst episode of season 2? No Such Luck or Brawl in the Family?
We all agree it's still Brawl in the Family.
Yeah.
I just think it's mediocre.
Say what you will about No Such Luck. At least the first half was kind of decent, and I didn't mind that Risky Business reference. I thought that was kind of cute. But other than that, both those episodes for me are at the bottom for like my least favorite episodes of season 2. So I really hope we don't get another Brawl in the Family again. I hope that the writers of this episode learn from that and they don't make it again. Okay, so I think another final point that we should mention is not with the episodes, but also with like some common things that we've been seeing, both positive and let's focus more on like some of the negative qualities that we've seen in certain episodes, even like certain decent or good episodes. Like what's something in the most recent episodes that's kind of bothered you?
I would say Clyde, but he's getting better.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing I'll say is that Clyde has been getting better because he's been getting better more is that they've been focusing more on episodes where it focused more on his relationship with Lincoln and not just have him be like the funny sidekick that's trying way too hard to be funny like we saw in season 1. In Turn for the Worst, I thought the episode was pretty good. Kick the Bucket List, aside from the final 10 seconds, I thought that episode was good. And Baby Steps, that's Clyde's best episode yet. I think it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like a problem that I have kind of been seeing up until Party Down, I feel like some of the characters have been really underused.
Oh, I got one.
Luna's a great example. Luna's non-existence, which I'm kind of thinking would have been caused by Sweet and Sour, but I don't know.
Yeah,
like the pudding joke.
Yeah, Muppet brought this up earlier when he talked about Sweet and Sour. I really wish Luna had more to do in that episode aside from the beginning, because I think it would have been a funny joke if they had like Luna performing at a karaoke bar and it just got worse. I feel like that would have been pretty good. I don't know why I feel like they had something for Luna, but they cut it out to save time. I wish they did do that.
Or studio meddling, right?
Right, but that also kind of goes into another issue that I've had with some of the episodes, is that Luna really seems to have been a character who has hardly been used all that much. I feel like for most episodes, up until Party Down, I feel like her presence in episodes has largely been to just give like maybe 2 or 3 expository lines, like basically say something to progress the plot or to support a character statement. Like it doesn't really feel like something that Luna would actually say. Like up until Party Down, it seems like she's just been more of a background character. Like they seem like they've forgotten the fact that she plays music, that she plays music for others, that she also plays music for Lincoln, and it's these are qualities about her, and also that she references songs. Like we don't really get that with her character, and I honestly hope that we don't really see that with Luna. Thankfully, though, after Party Down and the episodes that followed after that, it seems like Luna is finally given some more screen time. Any more thoughts on that?
No.
No?
No, I think you pretty much covered everything we would have said.
Alright, another problem I've had, and I know this is probably going to piss off some of what I call quote-unquote the Lin army. She's been used a little bit too much in this season. Can we all agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like, so far Lin has been like the character used a lot for like the jokes. Like I feel like she's like the sister to use when they need like a quick funny joke, like a farting joke, or just something that would satisfy Lin's fans. Like, or like, and unfortunately, the problem I have with it is that Lin is not really good at being funny, because basically her main source of jokes is either farting or hurting Lincoln. That's really it.
Or embarrassing him, like pantsing him.
Yeah, or pretty much in Kick the Bucket List, where she by far probably had, not the worst joke, but probably the second worst joke with that sandwich thing, which after that sandwich thing, it soon became a meme for the Lin army, where like Lincoln and Lin were basically eating the same sandwich, and then she burped.
Oh, I know you brought this up in a chat we did, but we're gonna see a shirt that says, "If we won't go number 2 unless we're number 1."
Yeah, that's also another thing. I feel like if Lin starts getting shirts, that will be the first shirt that she gets, is where the phrase "we don't go number 2 unless we're number 1." Because after Intern for the Worst, I get the feeling they're gonna try and make that a catchphrase for her. Because it was first,
Yay, toilet humor.
Because it was first used in Severe Consequences, and then it was brought up in Intern for the Worst. And I feel like in Litter, and I wouldn't be surprised if Litters Takes All would also include that line. And I feel like it does stink, because I feel like for Lin, she's just used way too much for a lot of the comedic moments when you have other characters that can be used really funny. But I think the breaking point for me was No Such Luck. I hated her in No Such Luck.
I think everyone hates Lin.
Yeah, like
Why I'm like, Lola's better than Lin. Like, why did I ever call Lin one of my favorite sisters? And why did I put Lola in the middle? Like, seriously, Lola's way better.
Yeah, we'll get back to Lola in a sec, but immediately in like the first 2 minutes of the episode, I hated Lin, because she basically threatened Lincoln to go to her game with a baseball bat, which I was just like, wow, like already 2 minutes in, and I hate her, and I hate Lin. But then again, that's kind of to be expected with her character now. And I'm sorry if that pisses off Lin's fans, but that's just my opinion.
The only thing No Such Luck did for me was it made me hate Lin a lot more.
Yeah, and even
Yep.
and the funny thing is that she also probably says the most sincere thing to Lincoln, where she actually apologizes to him for once, and immediately that moment of sincerity is immediately shattered with that stupid "we sold all your furniture" line.
Yes.
Like, you had a moment where Lin was actually, giving a shit about her brother, and then the illusion of sincerity is gone.
Yes.
Don't do that. You gotta give it the sincerity. You can't kill something like sincerity like that.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm putting out of it. I don't know.
Okay,
That's
so
what I feel.
yeah, so you brought up Lola, and here's the funny thing is that once season 1 started, I wasn't really a fan of Lola, but thanks to episodes like A Tyler's Tale and Under Pressure, I've grown to like her. Season 2, I think she's finally found her lane. Is that she's basically Lori if she was actually funny.
She's a funny Lori.
Those are good play. Yeah, those are really good.
Yeah, because for Lola, I mean, Lola is still a brat, and she's still like all about beauty. But I think the difference is that it's not played at to obnoxious levels, and it's used more for comedic effect. Like, she's actually funny in most episodes where she has jokes in them. Like, take for example Lock and Loud, where where Lynn said to Lola, "Okay, imagine if this dummy stole your tiara," and then like Lynn just basically goes apeshit and beats the shit out of the dummy.
That's what's funny. Like Lenny tries to hook up with the dummy, but then Lola's just basically like, no, just destroy it. Just basically
Fuck
rips
that.
it,
I'm gonna destroy
tears
this
it
house.
apart. Just tears it apart like I can't think of an analogy.
Yeah, she
But it tears it apart.
Yeah, that was funny. And I also thought Fantastic Voyage, she was also funny in that episode too. Like when she was on top of the van posing, and then they're like, "Where's Lola?"
Yeah.
Lola, I got knocked out by a tree branch 3 blocks back. Thanks for noticing. I love that line.
Yeah, and then also like that moment where she and Lana came in with that cardboard car, and like Lincoln's like, "You don't have to do that," and then she's like, "We've been practicing for 4 hours straight. You're gonna sit down and watch."
Sit down.
Some people didn't like that. I thought that was really funny.
That was
Yeah,
hilarious. I'm glad they
Yes,
didn't
it
actually
was
show any of the
hilarious.
singing. It was like kind of reminded me a little of the SpongeBob It's a Toy Store of Doom, where there's gonna be singing, but they like scrapped it. Except I don't know if that would be.
I
I don't know. I just saw that little connection.
I hope they continue this direction with Lola, because I know this is rare for some people, but I actually prefer Lola over Lana. And so far for season 2, it's just been proving my point why I prefer her over Lana. Even though I still really like Frog Wild because of Lana, I more prefer Lola.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now back to something that also kind of was bothering me, and someone else also brought this, is LENI. I feel like for this season, she's just kind of... I feel like they've been playing up her being ditzy and dumb a little bit too much.
I have something to say. When I first saw the show, I thought LENI was like Ed, like she was this innocent, like, you know, if you see Ed and Eddie, Ed was like this big lug, but he was so innocent and caring about his friends. But LENI seems, that's what I thought of LENI when I first saw her, but nowadays I see her more as becoming the new Patrick.
Oh, I really hope it doesn't do that.
Oh
Yeah.
God, no.
It's like basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to make Lenny stupid. She's not dumb. Okay, well,
Yeah.
she does have her ditzy moments, but she's not retarded. Like, I think a point I can bring up is in, again, Lock and Loud. She fell in love with the dummy. Now, I don't think Lenny would mistake an inanimate object for a real person, because she's never done that before. This is one of the issues where I feel like, okay, are they trying to make Lenny seem like another version of Patrick? Because if that's what they're going for, I really hope it doesn't continue for season 2. Please don't make Lenny that way. Please don't.
I don't like Lenny to begin with, so that causes some problems.
All right, so Bossy, you're saying you don't like LENI?
Nah, I never really liked her.
All right. Okay, so a lot of the points you definitely brought up. Yeah, I'm kind of worried about that. I really hope LENI doesn't turn into that, because season 1 did a great job of establishing who she is. I mean, she's a ditz, but you know, she also is really sweet, and she also has other character traits too. Like, have the writers forgotten that she also is really good at fashion? Like, and that also, you brought up Loud and Loud. Like, you think that someone who works at fashion and like makes fashion designs and uses mannequins to put their designs on it, wouldn't she be able to tell the difference between a human and a mannequin?
They're making her too stupid.
I know, and I get that, again, her ditziness is part of her character trait, and it does lead to why she's my second favorite character on the show, because I think she's really funny. But you don't have that be her only character trait, you know? Like, at least have season 2 expand upon her a little bit more. I would definitely like that. I don't want her to, again, turn into the next Patrick, because I feel like certain episodes, they are kind of doing that, like, whether it be Lock and Loud, or Kick the Bucket List, where she apparently thought Lincoln was actually a rock, which some people thought that was funny. I didn't think it was that funny. And also, like, they're also kind of focusing a little bit too much on making her a bit like a valley girl, like in Fantastic Voyage, where she's like, well, what are we gonna do? We need somewhere to go to the mall and junk, which I'm just like, are you like really just turning her into like the stereotypical valley girl now? I mean, that just bothers me, because when I think of LENI, I think of like episodes like One Flew Over the Loud House, where she actually wanted to help her family that was sick. Like, she actually had a heart, and she wanted to help them even though they were sick. Or Driving Miss Hazy, where even though Lincoln wanted to use LENI to pretty much go places instead of Lori, since she was blackmailing everybody. She at least seemed passionate about driving, and she did want to help everybody. And even like minor moments too, like in Link or Swim, where she offered Lincoln to come chill with her and the other sisters, or in Chore and Peace, where she was accepting of Lincoln's white hair. Those are moments that show, again, she's not the brightest person, but you know, she's really sweet. So yeah, those are like some of the problems that I've had so far with season 2. Again, I think season 2 so far has still been really good. As far as standout episodes for me, I would probably go with Sweet and Sour, Patching Things Up, Party Down, Lock and Loud, and
Fed Up?
Yeah, Fed Up. What are some standout episodes for you guys?
Probably everything you said.
Yeah, I agree. Most of them I'd probably go with. Well, I'd also say Frog Wild as well.
Me
All right.
too.
All right.
Frog Wild, Baby Steps, 11 on Sleeping. Lock and Loud is my favorite episode of the show, so definitely like. Wait, I hate when I lose track of what I want to say. 11 Lots of Sleeping, Frog Wild, and Lock and Loud are my 3 favorite episodes of the show. But there's also Baby Steps, Shell Shock.
Oh yeah, Shell Shock.
All 5 episodes. All 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Are great. Paul Friction, Fed Up, Party Down. There are a lot of really good episodes in season 2, and then there are also a lot of mediocre, okay ones, or well, in my opinion at least, in the overall opinion, just critically hated. And we already talked about both of those episodes, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you brought up some mediocre episodes, and there have been a couple that I really don't care about. I thought the whole picture was okay. It's just that it should have been a much better
alright.
episode.
Yeah, it felt like it was studio meddling.
They mentioned I hate that they mentioned the chip tooth, and that's it. They only mention it.
Yeah, that pissed me off too. I wish the
I
episode.
thought the bullying scene was kind of funny though.
Except that's kind of an issue. I feel like it kind of bothered me that the sisters only remembered Lincoln's embarrassing memories. Which I'm just like, do you just like not remember actually like caring for your brother?
Yeah, they were mostly
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought
So
the
the
episode.
chip tooth thing, I've never.
I didn't care. I thought the episode was okay. Another episode I really didn't care about was Cheater by the Dozen. I thought that episode was completely pointless. I was like, what was the point of this episode?
I think it was a season 1 leftover.
Yeah, I mean, because like for starters, right at the beginning of the episode, we know Bobby's not cheating on Lori, and then at the end of the episode, surprise, she's not cheating on Lori. It was all like some sort of dinner, and then the episode ends where it seemed like nothing was accomplished. So what was the point of the episode? Again, it's not bad, but I didn't care for it. And another episode, and I know I'm getting a lot of hate for this, that I didn't care about all that much, was Pulp Fiction. I know a lot of people love that episode. I liked it, but I didn't love it. And
I'm just glad it wasn't one of the sisters or a character we already saw.
Yeah, and my problem I have with it is just something I have personally. I didn't like how the sisters' main motivation to help Lincoln was because they wanted to get rich and famous. Like, they were like, oh, that's my character that I made. I want to, like, get famous off of that. I want to have, like, movie deals and, like, action figures off of my character for that. And it just kind of bothers me because it makes me... I didn't like how the episode seems to paint that all women are only interested in comics if it's just basically to get rich and famous. While for guys, they basically are into comics to help them deal with sad times in their life, or with their lonely, or just out of pure entertainment. For me, I found that I didn't really like that. I thought it was incredibly stereotypical to do that. I mean, a lot of people have disagreed on me with that, and some people have also accused me of hating the sisters just because I made that statement. But it's just a problem I have with the episode. And I'm guessing none of you agree with me on that.
I like.
Wait, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What were you saying?
I was explaining why I didn't really... my issue that I have with Pulp Fiction.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Alright, so that wraps up our first discussion video. Do any of you have anything else you want to say?
No.
I know
Not
you brought up
really.
Black and Loud a lot. I wanted to talk about it, but it's been how long have you doing this? Like 40 minutes?
Probably.
Yeah, we better just end this and try to post it on YouTube soon.
Yeah, alright, so thank you guys for checking out our first discussion video. We'll be back in a couple weeks to talk about the newest episodes that come out on May 15th. so stay tuned for that. I'm Andrew Brauer.
I'm Yoshi Player.
I'm muppetspot.
And I'm the Anglophile Gamer.
And we'll see you guys next time.